Silicone is great sealant, but I would never use it where it meets a painted surface. Baseboards, countertops, nothing. You cannot paint over this and the paint adhere. If you apply silicone sealant to an area you then want to paint over, you want to paint over that caulking, paint and primer, whether it's oil-based or latex-based, does not adhere to silicone caulking. What will happen is initially it will look as though the paint or primer is adhering to the silicone caulking. Then after some time, could be a couple of days, couple of weeks, a month, the paint will start to crack and give way. That's why I'd never use it if I want to paint over or in the area of silicone. Another thing you should be aware of. Silicone sealant has an expiration date. This is now 2023. This silicone expired in October 2019. It's never been opened, but I would never use it. I have used silicone sealant after the expiration date one time, and it was a complete disaster. I removed all of the latex caulking from around a bathtub. I had just purchased a brand new tube of silicone from one of the big box stores. Before I applied it to the tub, I laid down tape so I'd have a nice clean line. I applied the silicone and it wouldn't cure. It wouldn't even skin over. I waited 2 weeks to see if it would skin over, and it didn't. And that's when I figured out that I had purchased a brand new tube that was a year out of expiration. To get that silicone sealant off the tub took me like a month, because I knew that if you use silicone and it fails, or you have silicone on a surface, failed silicone has to be removed. Every little piece of it, or nothing will adhere where silicone has been placed. When you buy silicone sealant, you want to make sure you look at the expiration date. If it's past the expiration date, do not use it. I had to remove every little piece of silicone like I do here, and that is very difficult. You have to use scrapers, and when you get down to the little tiny bits of silicone like that, I have to remove my glove and rub at it with my finger. Your fingers will get sore, and likely the skin will come off to get every piece of silicone off. I suppose you can use razors to remove the silicone sealant. I haven't had good luck with that. It will gouge the wall and cause you to do a lot of repairs. Use a nice, sharp 5-in-1 tool. There's nothing that I know of, and I've been DIYing for years and tried many products, that will remove silicone sealant other than good elbow grease and lots of it. Silicone sealant is a great sealant to use. It's one of the best in my opinion, but it's limited in its application. You don't want to apply it in any areas where you want to paint around, or if you want to paint over the sealant. That includes baseboards and around doors. Another thing, after you apply silicone sealant and it skins over, nothing else will stick to silicone, including itself. So if you're going to use silicone and you're going to strike a line and caulk an area, you want to make sure you do it one time and then leave it alone to cure. What I would use for a counter to painted area as a sealant is GE paintable silicone. It's a hybrid of latex and silicone. I've used that for years and I've had great success. You can paint over it. I've never had the sealant crack. It's never separated from the substrate or the item you're sealing to the substrate, and it remains very flexible. So if I were going to apply some type of sealant along a kitchen counter to a painted wall, I would use GE paintable silicone. Where I would consider using 100% silicone in the kitchen is under the sink around here, because you're not going to paint your counter. Just know that when you use silicone sealant, it's quite difficult to get off. You want to let it cure before you remove any silicone that's coming out beyond where you want it to go. Because if you try to remove it when it's not cured, it just smears everywhere and it makes it more difficult to get it off. So now I've got to go along and remove every piece of this silicone if I want to prime or paint this wall, and I do. So you can't leave any on if you want to apply another sealant or if you want to apply paint or primer, because the paint and primer and sealant will fail. And that's why I wouldn't use 100% silicone sealant on any surface you want to paint or paint over that sealant, because the paint will not adhere and primer will not adhere. Hope it helps, and happy DIYing.